The first time Alex heard it, he thought it was a dream. A low hiss, a crackle, the sound of static drifting into his sleep. He lived alone in a small apartment above a used bookshop. Rent was cheap, the walls thin, and the building old enough that sometimes the pipes clanged at night. But this sound was different. It wasn't coming from the hall or the neighbors. It was coming from the corner of his bedroom. There sat an antique radio, the kind with big knobs and a wooden frame, one he'd picked up at a flea market weeks earlier. The seller had called it decorative. It didn't work, or at least it wasn't supposed to. But that night, at 3:15 a.m., it was on. Static, endless, hissing static. And then a voice, whispering. It said a name, not his, but a name he knew. The next morning, Alex shook off the dream. But as he brewed his coffee, he saw the headline on his phone. A woman had died in a car accident overnight. The same woman whose name the radio had whispered. He froze. His mug slipped from his hand, shattering across the floor. Coincidence, he told himself. Just coincidence. But that night he couldn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the dark shape of the radio. And when the clock struck 3:15, it came alive again. The voice, the static, another name. And the next morning, another obituary. For days, Alex avoided touching the thing. He threw a blanket over it, stuffed it in the closet. But no matter where he hid it, the static still seeped into the room at 3:15, and the names kept coming. At first, he tried to ignore it, but curiosity dug its claws deeper every night. He started writing the names down, matching them against the news, and every single one without fail was dead by morning. Accidents, heart attacks, murders. The radio didn't miss. Sleep became impossible. Alex sat up at night, waiting for the hour, pen in hand. The names blurred together in his notebook, dozens of them, each one like a clock ticking down. He stopped leaving the apartment, stopped going to work. His friends' texts piled up unanswered. The only thing that mattered was the voice. Where did it come from? Why those names? And most of all, when would it say his? One night, the voice whispered something different. A name he didn't recognize. Something inside him broke. He couldn't just sit there anymore. He had to know. He searched online, scouring obituaries, social media, police scanners, and then, hours later, he found her. A teenager, still alive. For the first time, the voice was early. Alex sat frozen, staring at her photo. He knew in his gut what would happen to her before sunrise, and he wondered, could he stop it? At 2 a.m. Alex drove across town, heart pounding. The girl lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Lights still glowed in her house. Her family was awake. He parked down the street, gripping the wheel, rehearsing what he would say. But before he could move, headlights appeared in the rearview mirror. A truck barreling too fast down the empty street. He looked back at the girl's house, and in that exact moment, she opened the front door. The truck swerved, screeched, and Alex watched as fate unfolded exactly as the radio had promised. He didn't sleep that night, or the next. The radio had shown him the truth. It wasn't predicting, it was deciding. Every whisper was not a warning, it was a sentence. And now, Alex understood something even worse. The voice was growing clearer, stronger. Each night it sounded less like a stranger and more like himself. One night when the static began, Alex didn't move. He sat rigid in the dark, notebook open, pen shaking in his hand. The clock read 3:15 a.m. The voice emerged. And this time it didn't whisper someone else's name. It whispered his. He dropped the pen. The room seemed to shrink, the radio glowing faintly in the dark. And then the voice laughed. Just once, the radio clicked off. Alex's apartment was silent. And in the morning, no one could explain why his neighbors had found the room empty, the bed cold, the radio still hissing quietly in the corner. The eerie silence that followed Alex's disappearance lingered in the air, thick and oppressive. The police investigation turned up nothing. No signs of forced entry, no evidence of foul play. It was as if Alex had simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the haunting presence of that antique radio. Days turned into weeks, and whispers began to spread through the neighborhood. Some claimed they could hear static coming from Alex's apartment late at night, even though it remained empty. Others swore they saw a figure standing at the window, silhouetted against the dim glow of the radio's dial. But no one dared to enter. No one wanted to risk becoming the next name whispered in the dark. The bookshop owner below Alex's apartment finally decided to clear out the space. He climbed the creaking stairs, key in hand, steeling himself for whatever he might find. As he pushed open the door, the musty smell of abandonment washed over him. Everything was exactly as Alex had left it. Unwashed dishes in the sink, a half-empty coffee mug on the knit-stand. And there, in the corner, sat the radio. The shop owner approached it cautiously, drawn by a morbid curiosity. His hand hovered over the power button, trembling slightly. He knew he shouldn't. Every instinct screamed at him to leave it alone, but he couldn't resist. His finger pressed down. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a faint crackle of static filled the room. The shop owner leaned in closer, straining to hear. And that's when the whispering began. It wasn't Alex's voice. It wasn't anyone's voice he recognized, but the name it spoke was his own. Bang? He stumbled back, heart racing. The radio fell silent once more. That night at precisely 3:15, a echoed through the building. By morning, the bookshop was dark, its door locked. The owner was never seen again, and so the cycle continued. The radio found new listeners, new victims, each drawn in by its siren song of static and whispers, each believing they could outsmart it, control it, or destroy it. But the radio endured. It moved from hand to hand, city to city, sometimes dormant for years, only to awaken with a vengeance, always hungry, always whispering. Some say it's a curse. Others claim it's a gateway to something beyond our understanding. But those who have heard its call know the truth. The silent radio is neither silent nor merely a radio. It's a harbinger of doom, a collector of souls. And once it speaks your name, there's no escaping its reach. So if you're ever browsing a flea market or antique shop, and you come across an old radio with a wooden frame and big knobs, think twice before bringing it home, because you never know when the static might start, and whose name it might whisper next. In the end, the true horror of the silent radio isn't in the names it speaks or the fates it seals. It's in the questions it leaves unanswered. Where do the victims go? What power drives its relentless hunger? And most chilling of all, who will be the one to finally silence it, if anyone can at all? As for Alex, some say his voice can still be heard on quiet nights, a faint whisper beneath the static. A warning, perhaps, or a plea for help. But like all the others before him, he remains lost to the silent radio's embrace, another soul claimed by its insatiable appetite for the living. And somewhere out there, in a dusty corner of a forgotten shop or a box in someone's attic, the radio waits, patient, eternal, ready to speak another name and claim another life. Listen closely. It might be yours. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you did, please subscribe Dark Whisper AI. Leave a comment. The next episode will be up soon. Don't miss. Goodbye.